Hello and welcome to Facebook Live with Evie. Or Wednesday Live with Evie. This is number 28. And the topic is about achieving your goals for 2017. So we're halfway through the year. And how are you doing with the goals you set this year? Are you reaching them? Are you a little behind? Where are you? So I would love to know, for those of you that are watching, what brought you here today? Where are you with your goals? What are you hoping to learn today? So share that in the comments below. I would love to know. And in the meantime, I want to share a couple of things with you. So first of all, if you don't know me, my name is Evie Burke, and I work with entrepreneurs and I help them take their productivity to a new level. And I do that many different ways, but one way that I do that I want to share with you today is through my Facebook group. And it's a free Facebook group. It's called Productivity for Women Entrepreneurs, and it's a great place to go and get some support every week on what it is that you want to get done that week. So every Monday I ask, what is your top priority for the week? And then at the end of the week I say, how did you do? And I have heard from numerous people that even if they aren't answering the question, they see that question pop up in their feed and then they start thinking about it and then they get more done throughout the week. And then on Friday, even if they didn't answer the question, they see, how'd you do this week? Did you get your most important task done? And they think about, oh yeah, that's the thing that I said I was going to get done, and whether they got it done or not, they know that they're thinking about it. So whether you decide to post or not, I'd love to have you over there. I encourage you to post if you are a member and share with us what you have going on, just because it is sometimes that extra oomph that we need to get something done when we know somebody's going to ask us about it. So the other thing I want to share with you is the How to Choose Priorities When Everything is Important workbook. So it's a short workbook. If you head over to my website, oneinsightcloser.com, so it's oneinsightcloser.com, then you'll see that I have that available there. If you sign up to get that, you also get the newsletter. And what that tool is, it's a really great way to look at everything you want to get done when you're feeling overwhelmed and get it down on a piece of paper or two, depending on how much you need to be doing, and prioritize it. So a lot of times when we're feeling overwhelmed, it's really hard to prioritize the things that we want to be doing because everything is so important. But this gives you a way to go through and really look at what's important and what's not. I could talk more about that, but I want to be aware of the time and not keep us here for too terribly long. So today we are talking about goals and intentions, and before I jump into that, what I want to do is just share this a couple of places so that people see it. So in the meantime, I want you to think about, what is it, or how do you define a goal? How do you define a goal? What was the title of this one? And I ask that because a lot of times people will define a goal by saying something like, I have an income goal, or I have this many clients goal, or something like that. And those are good to have, but I want to tweak your definition of that just a little bit. I have one more place I want to share this. So that's okay, Ellen. I just did the intro stuff, and I'm just getting to the content, so no worries about being late. All right. So, like I was saying, a lot of times when we're setting goals, we say we want to make this amount, we want to have this number of clients, or some variation of that. And I take maybe a slightly different view of goals, because to me, goals are things that you are directly in control of. And for something like working with a certain number of clients or making a certain amount of money, a lot of times there's other people's decisions that are involved in that process, right? So the way that I define goals, those aren't goals. Those are intentions. Those are the things that you want to happen, but you can't force them to happen. A goal would be something that supports that intention. So you might have one overall intention, which is making X amount of money this month. And then you might have goals underneath that. So the goals would be the way that you're going to meet that intention. So if you want to make X amount of money, what are the things that you need to do to make that more likely to happen? So, right, exactly, Ellen. Goals need to be measurable. And the intention of saying, I want to make X amount of money, that's definitely measurable, so that when you're setting goals and you're thinking about your overlying intention, that needs to be measurable too. But then the goals that support that intention, yes, they also need to be measurable. So you might know that you are more likely to get clients if you make, X number of phone calls. So you are responsible for making the phone calls. You can't control people answering the phone, but you can make phone calls. So you might look at the way that you've made money in the past, and you know that to make money, you need to be having so many sales conversations. So you know that if you want to make X amount of money, that you need to sell 5 packages. And so that's 5 people that need to say yes to your offer of your products, your services, right? And let's say, and I'm just making a percentage up to make my math easy. So let's say you have a 50% close rate. So you know if you have 10 sales calls or 10 sales conversations with people that you have, what's the word I'm looking for? You've pre-qualified, so you've had some conversations with them and you know that this is something that they're considering. So if you have 10 of those types of pre-qualified conversations, then you'll most likely get 5 sales. So your goal might be to have 5 conversations. So that's the main goal then, right? Or 10 conversations, to have 10 conversations with people who are pre-qualified. And as you break that goal down even farther, as you make it, more actionable, you might break that into, that if you're going to have 10 pre-qualified sales conversations that you need to talk to or be in front of, qualified leads, yes. Thank you, Ellen, that's the right word. So if you're having those conversations that you might need to talk to or be in front of 50 people or 100 people who are your ideal client, whatever those numbers work out to be for you. And so that's how you might break down a goal, right? So I moved my notes off my thing there. So you want your goals to be measurable and actionable. So I think most of us have heard of SMART goals. And so if you think of SMART, S-M-A-R-T, so you want them to be specific. What specifically is the goal? And you want it to be detailed. You want it to be measurable. So how are you going to measure this? How are you going to know that you reached that goal? You want it to be achievable. So, if you want to make X amount of money, if that's the intention and you want to have 10 conversations, is that achievable? Will you be able to go through the steps in your process to make that happen? So 10 might be totally doable for you. However, if you were to say to have 10 in the next 2 days, that might be not as easy unless you've already done the work in the previous month or so to allow you to set those up right now. All right, and then Reasonable. So is the goal reasonable? And achievable and reasonable always seem similar to me. So sometimes I shift achievable to actionable. So is this an action? Are these things I can actually do? Or is it something that's kind of more pie in the sky? So making sure that it's something that can actually be done, that it's not even sometimes tweaking. So it's not website, but create a website. So that's the goal then, right? And then you would have steps under that, and you would want to make sure that it's specific. So create a website for what? Create a website for my business. Measurable. How are you going to measure that? You're going to want to break that down. You know, you want it to have steps involved. Actionable. Is that something you can do? Yes, you can go through and you can do those steps. Reasonable. So creating a new website, if you say, I'm going to do it, you know, by Monday, that might not be reasonable. But, you know, if you say it's going to be done in 2 months, yeah, that's doable. And time bound. So you want to have an end date to it. So an example of maybe not a good goal would be, like for me, if I were to say, I'm going to run a marathon by the end of the summer. If I looked at that and thought about how reasonable that is, that's not very reasonable. I don't run at all. You know, I could break it down into steps. I could do, you know, a lot of training to get toward that. Maybe if I wanted to run a 5K by the end of the summer, I could train for that. But a marathon, that's not reasonable by the end of summer. If that was something I was excited about, something that I was driven for, then could I run a marathon? Yes. But not by the end of August or even the end of September, or honestly probably this year. So it's okay to know your limits and to know what works for you. Ellen says she can train me for a 5K or a 10K. I actually do not have any interest in running. The shirts that crack me up are the ones that say something to the effect of, if I'm running, there's probably something chasing me, you know? So I'll walk. I love walking, but yeah, running, not my thing. So anyway, Ellen says she'll chase me. So you want to make sure that your goals are specific, that you know what they are. So another thing to think about when you are looking at what your goals are. So, well, let's back up a minute. So 2017, what were your goals for 2017? If you apply SMART to them, were they specific? Were they measurable? Were they achievable or actionable? Were they reasonable, and were they time bound? And if not, then it's a great time to go in and adjust and say, okay, so this was the goal. It wasn't set up quite right, and to change it. Goals aren't set in stone, so you can adjust them. Also, you can think about, you know, where are you? Do you need to, even if it was all of those things, even if it was a SMART goal and you haven't quite gotten there, do you need to adjust it for the next 6 months? Because you can totally do that. Goals aren't set in stone. You can change them. Things happen sometimes where something doesn't go as planned or something unexpected happens, and we need to adjust our expectations. And that doesn't mean you failed, and that doesn't mean that everything is falling apart. It just means that you need to adjust, and that's okay. And learn from what went wrong or what didn't quite work out the way you expected, and move on, right? So one of the other things to think about as you are looking at your goals is, what are some things you can do to keep yourself on track? So there's any number of ways to do that online. There are some websites that are set up where you can say, and you need somebody else to hold you accountable with this one, but you can go and you can say that if I don't meet this goal, that I will give X amount of money to this organization that I don't like, that I really, really don't like. And then if you don't make that money, that goal, then your person that you have put in charge of hitting the button hits the button and the money goes off. And some people love that because it gives them that incentive of, I do not want that organization getting my money. I personally would not do that because that's not my thing, but I think it's super interesting. So sometimes if you can find maybe not exactly like that, but if there's somebody that you can be held accountable to that will kind of light a fire under your butt, then that can be helpful sometimes. Yeah, that could motivate me too if I found myself forced into that situation, but yeah, not something I'd want to do. So there's basically, you want to look at what are the things that are going to support you and motivate you to get the things done that you want to get done. And some of that is going to be making sure that you have your SMART goals. Some of it might be, what is a reward you can give yourself when you meet that goal? Something that you wouldn't normally do, or you won't do before the goal is over, and then you won't do it until you've met that goal. So sometimes those can be motivating things to do. Sometimes it helps to have other people involved. So one of the things there might be something like my Facebook group, Productivity for Women Entrepreneurs, where you just post every week, this is the thing that's most important, just to get that little bit of support every week. Another thing you can do is get an accountability buddy. I have an accountability buddy, and it's really helpful. It's also somebody to bounce some ideas off of sometimes. So, excuse me. There's another there's another Wednesday Live with Evie where I talk about how to set that up and how to arrange that relationship and the different ways you can arrange that relationship to really make it a good fit and to really make it successful for you, because you can set it up any number of ways. So another way to be held accountable and get support is accountability buddies, or I just said accountability buddies, mastermind groups. So a place where you come weekly or monthly and you share, this is how I did last month. This is what I said I was going to get done, and this is how it went. And whether it went well or it went, didn't go so well, you share that with the group. You get support. So if there's something you're having a problem with, or something you're trying to figure out, or you're trying to figure out a next step, it's a group of people that already know your business, that already know you. Well, it depends on how the mastermind is set up. So if it's a mastermind that you're committed to for X amount of time, then it is a group that already knows you, that already knows your business, and you can jump right into, what it is that they can help you with, and their feedback and their support. And there was something else I was going to say about masterminds that has left my head, but yes. And then the third thing, or the fourth thing actually, is you can get a coach. So a coach is helpful because it can be very dialed in. So if you know that in your business to meet this specific goal, you need help in a specific area, then you can work with a coach or a consultant that can help you out with that specific area, and they'll hold you accountable to getting the things done that you said you wanted to get done. And that is more regular, individualized help. It's just you and the coach. Generally, depending on the type of relationship it is, but generally if you're working one-on-one with a coach, it's just you and the coach, and however often you say you're going to meet. And that can be super helpful when you know that this is something that I want to accomplish, this is my goal, and I have this blind spot, or I have this piece that I need some help with on a more regular basis. Working one-on-one with a coach can be really helpful for that. What else about goal setting for 2017? So just take a look at where you are and what you want to get done. And know look at the SMART goals. When do you want to achieve, what is the goal, and when is it going to be achieved? Break it down. Break it down into its pieces so that it's manageable and it's not just like this one big thing that needs to get done. Another thing I would recommend or say is, if you have a big goal, you don't necessarily need to know every single step about how to get there right this minute. So if you have an income goal for the end of 2017, just know what is the goal for the month of July to meet that. Like if you want to make, again, just because math is easy, so if between now and the end of this year you want to make $12,000, and I just picked 12,000 because that's easy, then you need to make $2,000 in the month of July. So what are the things that you need to do in the month of July to make $2,000? Or if you're taking it easy in July and you're saying, okay, I'm going to make $1,000 in July, and then you're breaking up the rest of the payments or the rest of the income other ways, whatever that is, what do you want to make this month? What's that intention for this month, and what are the goals that you're going to achieve or you're going to set that will support you meeting that? One of the things that you can do is, it's going to be switched here and I can't help that, but this is a monthly calendar, and just know, okay, for each week in July, what are the things that need to happen so that I can meet that goal? And at the end of July, then look at, how did you do? What worked, what didn't work? And then in August, you can reevaluate and you can say, okay, so I made more than I expected to in July. That's fabulous. And then you can look at, do you want to decrease the amount you want to make in August, or do you want to leave it the same, or do you want to increase it? How do you want to handle that? And what are the things you're going to do to make that money? If you didn't meet the intended amount, if you didn't meet that intention, then what are you going to do in August? Are you going to make more? Are you going to leave it the same? So adjust as necessary. But always be very clear what the goal is and what the intention is. The last thing I want to say is I want to share an opportunity that I have coming up. And so it's along the line of the mastermind. So I've started a couple of... Sorry, I'm reading the comments here. I am offering a couple of mastermind opportunities now, and one of them is free. So if you are somebody that just needs, pop-in support here and there, I have started a meetup group for productivity for women entrepreneurs, and it's on Meetup. And that meets 2 times a month in 2 different locations. So it's going to be the second Tuesday of the month, but this month it's actually here this afternoon. And that location that's going to be the first Tuesday the second Tuesday of the month is going to be in Aurora, just north of the Outlet Mall, at the Panera on Farnsworth. I think it's still Farnsworth there. It might be Kirk. And that's going to be from 2 to 3:30. And then the other group is going to be the third Tuesday of the month, and that's over in Wheaton at the Panera in the Danada shopping area. And what those groups are going to be for is they're going to be a combination conversation and mastermind. So the conversation is going to be around productivity topics, and it's not just going to be me talking at the people that attend. It's going to be me introducing a topic and then a discussion, and then the last 45-ish minutes is going to be mastermind time. So we'll divide the time up with the people that are there, and we'll have mastermind time. And what that means is you can come with a question or something you need help with, and it can be productivity related, but it doesn't have to be productivity related. So if you have a productivity question or a productivity challenge, you can definitely bring that to the group. If you have something else going on that you want to bring to the group, you can bring that. And it's an environment where I say, whatever is said there, then it stays there. So we don't want people saying, leaving the group and saying, oh, Mary shared XYZ at this meetup group I was at. No, we're not doing that, right? The meetup name, Ellen, is Productivity for Women Entrepreneurs. I'll post the link to it after. Oh, there, you found it. Yeah. Yep, that should be it. So those two groups are coming up. Those are free. And the plus side of that is when you need support, it's there. So if you don't need regular support, then it's there for you. However, I've been part of, or I lead another group that's similar to this. And one of the downsides of these groups is when you're just popping in and it's whoever's there, the people that are there don't always know you or your business super well. So the suggestions that you get might be either things that you've already done or things that you know that aren't helpful, or they might be beyond where you are right now, and they're not really always exactly for you. So sometimes, I know in the past when I've been to these informal groups, I can leave a little frustrated because I didn't really get exactly the support that I needed, because the people in the group didn't know me and my business really well. So they were not able to offer suggestions or help or coaching that got me to where I really was hoping I'd be able to be. Not that I knew what that was. And so because sometimes we want that regular support, we want people to be with people who really get us and our businesses, and we don't have to re-explain ourselves every single month. There's another mastermind opportunity that I'm offering, and this one is a paid opportunity. It's a small group, and it's going to meet weekly virtually, and that's a productivity mastermind that is going to be meeting virtually starting in August. And we meet weekly. There's going to be 6 to 9 people. Each week there's going to be 2 or 3 people that have a focus seat to bring what their concern or their question is for their time. First I'll address it, and then it'll be opened up to the group. And at the beginning of every meeting, we'll do check-ins. So how did you do with your tasks for the previous week? And then at the end of the meeting, after the people who've had the focus seats are finished, then we'll go over what are you going to accomplish in the next week. And those should be things that are tied to what is your big goal? What is your big intention for the next 6 months? So we're going to start that in August, and then that will end in January. And it's a 6-month commitment, at least once a month. Occasionally more. You will have your own focus seat and have the opportunity to share with the group. So if you want more information on that, please let me know. That is going to be application only to get in that, just to make sure that the right people are in the right groups. So, and also they're going to be industry exclusive. So if there is one realtor already in the group, then there won't be another realtor unless they're both okay with it, but generally they'd be in separate groups. Just so if one person has just this fabulous idea that they're working on, they can feel free to share it and not be concerned that, oh, this other person that does the same thing I do is going to hear this idea and I don't really want them to know all of the things that I'm working on. And that's fine, because sometimes, we need to work through things ourselves before we share it with our colleagues or our competitors. And I use the air quotes intentionally. So again, if you're interested in any of those mastermind opportunities, but specifically the productivity mastermind, then let me know, and I'd be happy to talk with you and help you decide if and just help us both figure out if it's a good fit for you for where you are right now. So I'm at a half hour, so I'm going to wrap this up for today. And yes, Ellen, you are clearly a rock star because you found the link, so thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. So again, that brings us to the end of today's topics. if you're feeling brave, whether you're watching it live or on the recording, share what your goals are for the rest of 2017. And whether it's your main goal or your main intention, share that below. We'd love to know what those are and follow how you're doing with that as the year progresses. So my name is Evie Burke. I work with entrepreneurs and I help them take their productivity to a new level so that they can be completely available and completely present for the people that they love and spend their time with outside of their business. So until next week, much love. Bye.